of June. And again, some of you might overlap and go further out into July, but for the most part, this is the general timeline. Again, it's general read. Take it as it resonates. You may or may not, be making a decision on a Monday or a Wednesday. So because of those irregularities, please be aware that some of this timeline, like I say, may not resonate as detailed and maybe further out into July. Anyway, what I see roughly for those that this does have some connection to is I do see that there is a story here around, you in a contemplative space in the month of June. So I feel like Seven of Cups, and again, we're just going to go through the initial cards first, and then we'll go through the clarifiers. Seven of Cups tells me that this is all about you starting to look at your choices, look at your options. I feel like you're really trying to move beyond some pain and some spaces of emotional difficulty. Could be dealing with some financial issues, but there's a lot here that still kind of speaks to momentum or movement, but a lot of emotional depth to what's going on for you. So again, I feel like there's also kind of a financial reset of sorts. I feel like you're trying to get some grasp on your own identity and spiritual maturity. And again, there's a lot of choices or options and things going forward here that will that you're kind of coming to understand. So again, Seven of Cups, again, we'll start with just the general read here. Nothing of major arcana, nothing of big value. Well, they're all have value, but I mean, nothing of big consequence, nothing that's going to be life altering in the month of June that I see here. So Seven of Cups, there's a story that you're kind of trying to work through. What are the things that are still available to me? What are my options? What are my choices? I still feel really sad here about the things that I've had to kind of deal with or work through. Could be dealing in around financial issues. I've had a lot of money and maybe something has, gone awry. Things didn't work out as I had expected. I still feel like there's a level of confusion in around, like I said, something around the home front here as well. Something here that kind of speaks to your foundation. You're still trying to consider options or choices for you. There's been a really hard battle with the Ten of Swords. It's been a really defining way of, it's been heartbreak. It's been a lot of conflict, and certainly could be around Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, or somebody who shows up as very dynamic, energetic, creative, that kind of thing. But it's a very, strong energy either way, fiery sort of energy. But I feel like there's been a lot of heartbreak around that. Now, there's some good things here as well. But I definitely thank you for the heart. But the Knight of Wands does kind of speak to that energy of still moving forward and going forward in a really significant way. It's kind of an in and out energy. And so it's consistent, inconsistent. But I still feel like that inconsistency is because you need to stop and pause and really take a moment to really figure out where you are in the grand scheme of things. So I feel like you're either redefining who you are, but either way, there's something here about a lot of internal work that's still taking place. In terms of your finances and all of that here too, I feel like there has been a sense of restructure that's required. I do feel like resources are, possibly in a space of transition, and certainly, around the finances. But there's something here with the Three of Wands of still visionary, still looking forward, still, have a lot of more positive kind of, outlook. You have a more positive outlook, especially with the Six of Pentacles, where the finances are, there's a lot of reciprocity. There's a lot of give and take. There's more of a shared resource that's going on there. And then, of course, our last card out, which was at the bottom of the deck, is the Page of Cups. So again, there's more of a small emotional beginning, but of course, this is with the fish. So this is some luck in around the finances, even though it's a small sort of rendering toward something here. So now we'll kind of recap it and take it into a little bit more detail. So again, as I mentioned earlier, I do feel like your finances are highlighted, your self-perception is highlighted, your relationships. It really feels like you're doing a lot of inner work here. Emotional maturity through, looking back at things and your choices and your consequences, especially when we see the Five of Cups around the King of Pentacles. It feels like there's a layer of sadness, or you haven't really, things didn't quite live up to an expectation that you'd hoped for. So there's some kind of emotional confusion here as well. Grief, regret, that kind of thing, linked around past decisions. So again, especially when we see the Ten of Swords coming out here, This is also in around that same sort of energy of, a mindset or a chapter where you were maybe self-deception, holding on to a painful cycle. Things are now at a conclusion with the Ten of Swords. So something is pretty much ended as far as the negativity part of things. And I feel like you are now in a space of rebirth through empowerment. So you're ready to kind of claim your voice, move into your future. You're looking forward to things. You're not seeing the confusion as a failure. You're actually seeing that as more of a signal to ready to evolve beyond the illusion of things. So there's something here that kind of speaks to you moving from kind of an inconsistency to more consistency. So right now you're trying to master something again in your career, your financial life. You're trying to get a better grip of things. Again, I feel like that still represents you in a bit of a pause, sort of rethinking how to kind of bring things back into a state of stability or wealth or ground decision making again. So I feel like it's possibly in around partnerships here or redefining your professional role as well. But again, there's still that energy of the Six of Pentacles and the visionary card with the three. It's not just the Two of Pentacles, you making a decision. It's like you've already gone beyond that and you're now ready to really expand something. So it's finding more karmic balance with this card, and looking at, have I given too little? Have I given too much? It's, trying to find a way to balance it all out. And again, with that Page of Cups, it still, speaks, and that was at the bottom of the deck. It speaks to a seed of some kind of financial benefit that's still possibly a potential that is coming in. A smaller thing, but it's still something that is seeding that you're getting some kind of communication or news about either way. Now, now again, when we have the Ten of Swords here, there is still something with the Ten of Swords that kind of speaks to, some kind of financial ending of sorts. It was either a belief about money or a job or something that you were aligned to. But it's going to make way for something that is going to be more, healthier. So I feel like you can trust. The old belief is I can't trust money or it disappears when I need it. But the new belief, reframing it, is I'm building long-term wealth. And that's what the Three of Wands is. Again, it's more of a collaborative effort with the Six of Pentacles. It's not doing it on your own, but it is still building wealth through intentional choices and, making sure that your self-worth is aligned so that everything works in a more balanced, harmonious way. And of course, there is cards here requiring balance and connection to someone else here and able to make that happen. So I feel like kind of the key themes this month is, especially when we had the card of the Seven of Cups to start, sort of that key theme is you're emotionally evaluating, what belongs in your choices, in your connections. What were you, fantasizing that things would be that didn't turn out? So it's pointing to, yes, you had some emotional losses. Yes, there have been some things around disappointment around finances. It definitely feels like you didn't meet something emotionally or financially. But I still feel like because that Page of Cups is showing up here again at the bottom, it sort of is, it really does change everything around, sorry, the dynamic of the month. So it does speak to a reconnection or a small emotional offering or something like that. And especially too with communication, even around money, something more fortuitous or positive for you. So it does still speak to good things that are coming in there. And especially too, because we had that Four of Wands that had come out there. The Four of Wands was in around the Six of Pentacles, or sorry, the Four of Wands, sorry, Three of Wands, where was it? The Four of Wands with that Seven of Cups. So it feels like there's still a lot of options that are still available here. It's potential for harmony and celebration, but you have to clear out those mental illusions of all those fantasies of how you thought things would be and where things would go. So it's more along the lines of if you're not aligned with it, it's not going to come forward and work in your favor. So it's more along the lines of kind of practicing, not being angry or I feel abandoned. It's more about, don't echo the past patterns. It's how do you reframe the emotion or the conflict or the stress. So there's a sense of internal burnout. And again, that was more along the lines of the Ten of Swords card that was out there. But there's also self-betrayal with that card. So it's like possibly not following through or overextending yourself or resources or something, finances. But again, when we had the Hanged Man coming out here, there's some kind of a pause that you're in right now. It's a pause for reflection, surrendering to something bigger than you. And, you know, you're redefining what your role is, what your purpose, what your direction is, and what is necessary. So there's something here about good news, especially when we saw the Queen of Wands come through. And of course, the Four of Wands is here as well, and the Knight of Wands. So it's like you're getting more energy back, more magnetism, more confidence, more fire is coming back in here. It's like you're not lost uh, to the Ten of Swords energy. This is where you're not your past, you're no, you're more of a creative force in this period. So again, that Hanged Man energy, and especially too coming through with the Three of Wands, there's a lot of energy that kind of speaks to you still looking forward, still a vision. You're stepping into this, you know, what nourishes you, what gives you a sense of the next mission, you know. You're waiting on a little bit of divine timing, I would say, there as well, but there is maybe a temporary feeling of stalling, but it's not failure. It's like you're spiritually kind of realigning, recalibrating. You're confirming what it is that's on the horizon, what you need to be aligned with. So that's why the pause. So you want to become who you were meant to be. You don't want to feel like you're grieving who you were conditioned to be, or whatever the sadness was from before. So again, there's a certain amount of distractibility with the Seven of Cups energy here. And again, I feel like still a little bit too much unclear thinking. You know, you're not really figuring out all the outcomes. There's too much going on right now. But I feel like the Five of Cups still speaks to kind of a lingering regret of what if, you know, and so it's emotional grief. You're still working through that, and you're still in that space of, even though you're winding it up, the fear of repeating the past mistakes and feeling betrayed or defeated. So there's a resistance to surrender, but you're still in a waiting mode with the Hanged Man. Again, the Six of Pentacles is still, it's a balanced energy that's coming through some kind of connection or partnership. Now, the good things here, again, are with the Queen of Pentacles, and we also had the King of Pentacles in there as well. So financial growth is possible, especially through practical effort. So it's not just coming in as a windfall. It's something you have to put your time and energy into. We also had that Page of Cups with the Four of Wands, which is the potential for reconciliation, where there's more emotional maturity and a renewed sense of family or joy in that household dynamic. We also had the Three of Wands, which is your manifestations are coming in. So again, it could be in around whatever your goals are there, whether this is travel plans or career aspirations, whatever that is. But again, we had the Queen of Wands, we've got the Knight of Wands, a lot of momentum, a lot more confidence, visibility increasing, that kind of thing. I feel like in this month, what you really have to overcome has more to do with choosing clarity over reaction. As far as your financial habits, you want to shift from scarcity, you know, mindset, and try to choose more stable-minded, grounded plans. And I feel like emotionally, you're kind of walking away from moments, the things that drain you, so that you can actually open up to things that are going to be much more fulfilling. Guarding your peace a little bit there, you're using your voice and your body or whatever to express things creatively or otherwise. But I feel like that Hangman is really helping you to teach you to choose, you know, how you can choose the things in the unknown, things that you don't know about. You know, you're really starting to figure it out now, because you're stopping to pause. You're not just reacting or just immediately choosing. So I would say in the first week, you know, even May 31st to kind of into that first week of June, there's something here about emotional reflection and kind of new beginnings starting to stir around the love life or home front. I feel like you might offer some peace or some kind of emotional opening gesture. Ground yourself before you respond, you know, because your real gift lies in not a quick yes or no, but getting clear. So really taking the time to understand, you know, and you really want to release the things that confuse you and try to understand better. So by the second week, I would say there is more of that energy of letting go of past losses and committing to stable oriented financial growth. And financial painful moments may resurface here as well in that period, but I feel like finances are stabilizing. Um, Again, kind of letting go of that past narrative of I failed before, I'll fail again, and presenting it as that ending created space for me to become wiser and make a better decision. So by the third week of June, I feel like you start to get more of a surge of energy that pushes you forward. Again, Queen of Wands, King, or Knight of Wands as well. And I feel like that is helping you to, even though there's a surge, I would still say pause. That's why the Hangman is here, because you want to act out of not impulsivity, but more alignment. Is it a practical move around finances? Does it move me closer to joy or faster to burnout? It's things like that. But either way, I feel like you're just walking away now from emotionally depleting energy and committing to planting seeds so that you actually have some success up ahead and committing to more balance. Um, you're using your wisdom. You're not choosing to react in this period. I feel it's more along the lines of a new phase in terms of your career or things around money. Things are going to be, you're letting go of dead end paths and you're starting to really take root or make roots. As far as finances, again, I feel like you're restructuring your finances and looking at the long term in terms of wealth. And I feel like there's more grounding, again, in that area in particular. I feel like in terms of relationships, your emotional choices are still very key. You're letting go of fantasies and you're starting to be more compassionate, but with boundaries, guarding your peace. As far as self-worth, I feel like you're reclaiming your confidence, and that'll be after a period of self-doubt that kind of springs up there, but then you kind of go forward again. So trust that pause with the Hanged Man, and just don't act on impulse. That's what I have for you. Keep moving forward, and we'll see you in the next read.